Hello and thank you for joining us on Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Norlene Ebel-Ame with the news. Let's begin the news broadcast with the economy, where the federal government and the African Union is working towards providing a sustainable single-digit loans for micro, small and medium enterprises to access affordable credit, which remains a major challenge facing Africa. Deputy Chief of Staff to the President, Ibrahim Hadeja, stated this at the opening of the 2024 International Dialogue organized by the federal government and African Union. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
27th of June is here again, and this is a gathering of call to action to address a continental issue using a continental solution.
And I know, I'm convinced that as a continent, we can do something about this. The answer to some of these hurdles is not outside this continent, it's here.
Micro, small and medium enterprises in Nigeria accounts for 96% of all businesses and has contributed to 46% of the gross domestic product.
And without them, 80% of the current Nigerian workforce will be without employment. These facts provide us with the evidence that if MSMEs prosper, Nigeria prospers. And we can say the same about Africa and indeed the entire world.
The African Union will sustain its global advocacy for MSMEs financing to fill the gaps with a focus on utilizing innovative digital infrastructures, including digital public infrastructure, for removing various traditional barriers in order to enhance financial inclusion.
So what we have done is to assemble a group of technocrats, people that can match standards anywhere in the world, to come and try or attempt to provide solutions to what these issues are.
With the recent launch of the 150 billion naira intervention fund for the MSME in partnership with the Bank of Industry at a single-digit loans is among other interventions of the federal government aimed at devising the appropriate continental solution for this continental problem. In Abuja, Abdurrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
The ECOWAS Council of Ministers of Defense has proposed a cost implication of over $2.6 billion annually to activate the counter-terrorism standby force. The proposal was presented at the meeting of the Council in Abuja, which was also attended by finance ministers of member states. Kelvin Ehunwaye reports.
The proposal came with a second option of $4 billion for a brigade of 1,600 men. Both options are to be considered by the Council with advice from the Chiefs of Defense Staff of member states. It is a big step forward in the realization of the objectives set by the Council of Heads of State and Government at its 62nd ordinary session recently in Abuja, with the aim of establishing a regional counter-terrorism standby force to help countries battling rampaging insurgency and protect the sub-region against unconstitutional change of governments.
This is the time to make additional sacrifices by all member states towards rescuing our community from terrorism and its attendant impact on national economies and well-being.
I'm sure it will be adopted because the Committee of the Head of States have resolved to really fight insurgency and terrorism in the region, and they are committed really to funding this project so that we'll have a unified force that will take care of the terrorism issues and block areas for infiltration into other countries that they don't have the same issues of security.
Any of the two options adopted will be presented to the ECOWAS Council of Heads of States and Government for ratification, with expectation that the standby force will be ready for deployment soon to reverse the trend in a region now rated by Global Terrorism Index as accounting for 1/3 of the global deaths from insurgency. In Abuja, Kelvin Ewonwaye, NTA News.
In other news, the Senate has granted expeditious approval for the extension of the implementation of capital components of the 2023 Appropriation Act and a supplementary from 31st March to 31st December 2024. The request for the extension was transmitted by President Bola Tinubu to the lawmakers. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, read the President's communication on the first day of plenary after Salah break.
To allow for the full implementation of the capital projects contained in the budget, particularly those infrastructure projects intended to improve commerce, address challenges with security, healthcare, and education, and generally improve the lives and well-being of the Nigerian people. As many of these critical projects remain ongoing, I write to request that the Senate considers and passes legislation to extend the implementation of the Appropriation Act 2023 and the Supplementary Appropriation Act 2023 to 31st day of December 2024 to ensure that the provisions of the acts can be exhaustively implemented. While hoping that this request shall receive the kind, expeditious consideration of the Senate, please accept, distinguished Senate President and distinguished Senators, the assurances of my highest consideration and personal regards. Yours sincerely, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President, Commander-in-Chief, Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The extension is to enable completion of critical projects captured in the budget. The extension of the implementation were earlier affected twice to 31st March 2024 and 30th June 2024. Meanwhile, Senate Leader Okpeyemi Bamidele says there is no request before the Senate to approve the purchase of a presidential jet. In a related news, the House of Representatives has approved President Bola Tinubu's request to extend implementation of the capital aspect of the 2023 budget to 31st December 2024. The House also passed another executive bill to extend the 2023 supplementary budget to 31st December 2023. Lawmakers expeditiously approved the executive bills to enable the federal government complete critical projects after extensive consideration of the bills at the Committee on Supply chaired by Speaker Tajuddin Abbas.
30th June 2024 to 31st December 2024. And like I said, this is to make life easy for everyone, to complete the project because we don't want abandoned projects.
I might not oppose this in principle because I want these projects concluded. But in terms of procedure, I feel a little bit worried. A situation where we will have 3 budgets running concurrently. And then we're also expecting, sincerely, a supplementary budget for 2024, which means that we have 4 budgets running in a country.
I admire the minority leader who has been in this chamber for the last 4 sessions, and he knows the procedure and he knows the way things are being done. You cannot extend the period of supplementary budget without extending the period of the main budget, which hinges on the main budget.
We have all agreed that it is in the best interest of the country to support this particular request from Mr. President to get the supplementary budget extended so that our security agencies who are waiting for these funds to be able to access it and be able to continue improving the security of the country.
On health matters, the National Assembly House Committee on Health Institutions has called on the head of service of the Federation to, as a matter of urgency, grant waivers to federal teaching hospitals and federal medical centers to employ more health professionals to address shortage of manpower experienced in such health institutions. The Chairman, House Committee on Health Institutions, Amos Magaji, made the appeal during the committee oversight functions to federal university teaching hospitals and federal medical centers across the northwest and northeast geopolitical zones. Shehu Muhammad Dati reports.
Against the backdrop of the challenges in the health sector, including the brain drain, where skilled medical workers are frequently leaving the country in search of opportunities abroad. This strained the doctor-patient ratio in the medical centers and consequently overwhelming available workers. The visit of the House Committee is, however, to gather first-hand information on the challenges. Chief medical directors, while giving an overview of the hospital activities and its challenges, lamented over lack of structures, dilapidated existing structures, erratic power supply, high cost of diesel, and most disturbing, inadequate manpower.
Our facilities actually need human resource for health. Like FMC Birnin Kudu, we have the least human resource for health in the country among all federal or the other federal tertiary hospitals. And with this, therefore, we certainly need to employ more human resource for health. We have applied for the waivers and therefore trying to employ the necessary staff.
Institution will be looking for waivers on employment, and then an arm of government will keep it for many months without responding to it. We say no to it, and that should never happen in a country whereby the manpower shortage, especially human resource for health, is becoming a problem.
The House Committee visited Federal Medical Center in Guru in Yobe State, Federal Medical Center Azari in Bauchi State, Federal Medical Center Birnin Kudu, and Federal University Dutse Teaching Hospital Jigawa State. In Dutse, Shehu Muhammad Dati, NTA News.
In other news, the Nigeria Governors Forum has expressed commitment to a sustained negotiation in arriving at an agreeable solution to the national minimum wage debate between government and organized labor. The forum says this is in a communique signed by its chairman and a governor of Kwara State, Abdurrahman Abdurazak, and made available to the press after a closed-door session that lasted several hours at the NGF Secretariat. The forum also received a presentation from the World Bank Country Director and Women Affairs Ministry on the implementation of a series of projects under World Bank financing and aimed at boosting the economy and stimulating investment opportunities. Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Reforms also made a far-reaching presentation, while the Zamfara State Governor, Dauda Lawal, speaks to journalists on other issues.
Now that there seems to be a paradigm shift from the crude oil, and the northern governors are challenged to invest more in agriculture. What is the future about Zamfara State?
Generally, the northern Nigeria is an agrarian economy. And all the governors are making conscious effort to make sure there are changes in agriculture, one of which is making adequate provision in terms of providing fertilizer, seedlings, as well as new technology to improve agriculture, rather the subsistence farming that we're used to.
Agreed to meet on other burning issues that will bolster impacts on the Renewed Hope agenda. Industrial action has been averted as a federal government reached agreement with the Academic Staff Union of Universities. Zenred Dimung has details.
The present administration's desire to revamp Nigeria's education sector, always engage players in dialogue and avert the threats to education, the Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Mamman, seized the opportunity to engage the body in an extended discussion behind closed doors. Both parties agreed that terms for discussions have been reached, as ASU had long awaited the opportunity for dialogue with the present administration on issues dear to them.
We'll be having, non-public meetings. We're having that. That's why we have this very cordial family relationship. So when there's an issue like this, we can sit down and talk to ourselves. There's no gap, no bridge at all, no obstacle, to having a conversation. But the important thing is that we have a shared understanding of the issues, and we have set in place the motion and the pathway for addressing them.
We have assignment to some people to look at, send 1 or 2 committees to also look at them, and then we have agreed on the way forward. Now, our prayer is that this process should go the way it is, and let's resolve this issue as quickly as possible for the interest of our young men and women and for the interest of the nation.
ASU promised to brief its members as further discussions continue. In Abuja, Zen Redding Moon, NTA News.
In a similar news, authorities of the University of Abuja say the institution is determined to get to the heart of the nation and mobilize it for greatness and prosperity through sustainable development initiatives. This was a collective perspective of speakers at a banquet organized by the Sustainable Development Center of the university to honor the immediate past Vice-Chancellor, Professor Abdurrashid Naala, as the best performing VC since inception of the school. Justin Bemui reports.
Sustainable Development Center of the University of Abuja, therefore, is out there to be a solution for our nation.
The vigor and leadership strategy of Professor Abdurrashid Naala has propelled the University of Abuja to that enviable height it is today. This banquet and award ceremony is in his honor as the best ever performed Vice-Chancellor of the university. The Sustainable Development Center, which the outgone Vice-Chancellor strategically created, is one major beacon of achievement among other array of feats and accomplishments identified here today.
And now we are doing aeronautical and electrical engineering, we're doing railway engineering, we're into nuclear engineering. I mean, it's just so many things.
This was an opportunity to celebrate goodness and excellence.
When you find somebody doing well, you must make time to come and show solidarity. I'm particularly elated from the totality of what I have found, how this Vice-Chancellor have been able to, through the dint of hard work and new ideas, recreate the University of Abuja.
There was nothing like a Sustainable Development Center in the university. And even in the whole of Nigeria, you can hardly get a center focusing on sustainable development studies. When this Vice-Chancellor came, he initiated it, that look, let's not only give knowledge to the society, but relevant knowledge.
We want to use this sustainability society developmental strategies to help the administration of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR.
This center, no doubt, is anticipated to have a huge positive impact on the Nigerian society.
The truth is that a lot of what has been produced will definitely carry the vigor to the society and to the various areas of sustainable development.
Professor Abdurrashid Naala was appointed Vice-Chancellor of the University of Abuja on 1st July 2019, and he is bowing out after 5 years. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
The uncompromising effort of the security agencies in fighting the menace of drug abuse and illicit trafficking is yielding positive results in Adamawa State, considering the huge successes recorded in recent time. To ensure more in its operations, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has carried out a series of activities aimed at raising awareness on dangers of drug and substance abuse towards securing healthy society. Simon Asher reports.
The devastating effect of drug abuse no doubt has left a trail of destruction, with families torn apart, lives ruined, and young people lost to addiction, which is evident with the recent arrest of a 23-year-old drug dealer with cannabis sativa, weighing about 1.861 kilograms by the officers and men of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency in Adamawa State. Hence, the week-long event marking the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, with a range of sensitization campaigns to include public lectures, advocacy work, and community outreach programs by the command in Yola, aimed at raising awareness and promoting a drug-free society. In celebration of the culmination of the activities marking the day at the banquet hall, Government House Yola, the State Commander, Femi Samson Abiolu, says the theme for this year's celebration, the evidence is clear, invest in prevention, serves as a powerful reminder of the critical importance of proactive measures in the fight against drug abuse.
In our operations, we have seen substantial improvement in the number of arrests, seizures, prosecution, convictions and forfeitures, and the rehabilitation of individuals affected by drug abuse.
Government will increase investment in prevention programs, strengthen law enforcement, and then prioritize treatment facilities. We are calling on the civil society organizations, non-governmental organizations to work alongside communities. Of course, the press should not be left behind in order to develop innovative prevention strategies and advocate for policy change.
High points of the event was drama, talk show on the menace of drug abuse, as various stakeholders took turn to further sensitize the public on the dangers of substance abuse.
Simon Asher's report there, and he joins us live now from Yola to talk more on fighting the menace of drug abuse. Simon, can you give us an update of the efforts of security agencies in fighting the menace of drug abuse and illicit trafficking, particularly with the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency at the forefront?
A successful outing or campaign by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency in Adamawa State during the week-long events in the state, as they went all out to campaign, thereby sensitizing the general public on the need to shun drug, especially the youths, because they went to the Lamidos Palace and it was culminated at the banquet hall in Yola, where members of the Executive Council of the Adamawa State government were in presence or in attendance with stakeholders, trying to let the people know that taking drugs is not the best solution, but people desist from such unwholesome acts. And with me here is the State Commandant of the NTA in Adamawa State to throw more light on the successes recorded so far in the state. Sir.
Yes, thank you so very much. I want to thank you for beaming the activities of NDLA Adamawa State Command in the area of the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Drug Trafficking, which ended only yesterday, being the 26th day of June 2024. And of course, the theme for this year is, the evidence is clear, invest in prevention. The key word is preventing people from abusing drugs. When you invest in prevention, a whole lot of these effects of drugs will be reduced to the barest minimum. Of course, at the grand finale, we had a guest speaker who dwelled richly on the topic. And I want to say that the whole occasion was a success. Of course, there is this saying that prevention is better and cheaper than cure. Don't even go near. And of course, the Chairman Chief Executive has said that if you have not started taking drugs, don't. And if you have started, stop. If you are addicted, seek help. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency is there to give you the hope, the succor for you to get rehabilitated. And that is why we have the helpline, which is toll-free in any of the Nigerian languages. And of course, the helpline is 0800 1020 3040 in any language of your choice.
So any arrest, what are the successes recorded so far in terms of arrest or seizure?
Yes, in terms of arrest, for the period under review, we made a total seizure of a total arrest of 454 drug suspects, comprising of both male and females, compared to what we had last year. That is from June 2022 to June 2023, we recorded 501 arrests compared to seizure. The seizure for the period under review is about 4 tons compared to 1 ton in the previous year. The experience here in Adamawa State is we have more drugs coming in while we have less seizure. So that is just our experience here. And that is why all hands has to be on deck to ensure that supply of drugs into Adamawa State is reduced to the barest minimum.
That is it from the State Commandant of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency in Adamawa State, as he shed more light on the successes recorded and the difficulty faced by the command here in the state. And I can assure you that the command is doing all it can to nip in the bud the menace of drug abuse in the society.
All right, thank you very much, Simon Asha, for your contribution from that end, and of course, commendable efforts by NDLEA operatives there. And still on the fight against drug abuse, we are joining Susan O'Malley to take us through the stories from Makudi and more. Hi, Susan. Good evening to you.
Nolin, it's good to have you join us in Makudi. Wife of Nasarawa State Governor Hajia Silifat Abdullahi Sule has attributed the high rate of crime and moral decadence in the society to the abuse of drugs and other substances. She said this as she joins the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, on the war against the drug abuse in Lafia, the state capital. Bilkisu Gurku reports.
The need to adopt proactive measures in tackling the menace of drug and substance abuse had stakeholders in Lafia coming together to brainstorm on the way forward. While recounting some of its achievements, the state commander, NDLEA, Peter Odaudu, said the command has arrested 150 suspects and seized over 7 tons of cannabis sativa in the course of its operations.
Significant arrest and seizure, which must be mentioned, is that of 4,037 kilograms of cannabis sativa in one fell swoop.
The zonal commander, Zone D, Ambrose Omoru, explained that with commitment and sincerity of purpose, a drug-free society is possible. Wife of Nasarawa State Governor Hajia Silifat Abdullahi Sule lamented that drug and substance abuse has contributed to high rate of crime, moral decadence, and other health hazards.
Whatever they teach us here today, please and please and please and please, let's do this as a lesson to ourselves.
With the theme, the evidence is clear, invest in prevention, stakeholders opine that to sustain the fight against drug abuse, priority should be given to sensitization and rehabilitation. A play was showcased by students of the PTA NADP International College and core members on the negative impact of drug abuse. In Lafia, Bilkisu Umar Guruku, NTA News.
Benue State government has received 2,000 dignity kits alongside non-food items from a foreign partner for onward distribution to internally displaced persons in the state to cushion their plight. Deputy Governor Sam Ode, who received the delegation in Makudi, says the donation is in line with government's commitment to return IDPs to their ancestral homes. Simbiat Agbaji has more.
Benue State has over the years experienced farmer-herder clashes, which has displaced thousands of people from their ancestral homes. These displaced persons now live in IDP camps with poor hygienic condition and lack of basic facilities. The state government has over time made efforts in attending to these needs in collaboration with other foreign partners.
It's so much grateful for us because we don't have the money to buy all those things and be given to our mothers and our sisters here. So some other people don't have pot to cook, but I think this intervention will help them cooking well in their houses.
The donation of 2,000 dignity kits and other non-food items by the International Organization for Migration, IOM, is one of such intervention in giving the IDPs a better sense of belonging. State Deputy Governor Sam Ode said, the Rapid Response Fund is not just a project but designed to provide immediate relief and uphold the dignity of the displaced population.
Your presence here today underscores your unwavering commitment to the security, stabilization, and development of Benue State, as well as your dedication to providing life-saving humanitarian assistance.
Thereafter, the delegation visited the Ichwa IDP camp, where the Deputy Governor flagged off the distribution of intervention materials and the Benue State Emergency Management Agency to inspect ongoing projects. In Makudi, Simbiat Agbaji, NTA News.
And that's our beat from Makudi. Nationwide continues with Norlin in Abuja after this timeout.
Welcome back to Abuja on Nationwide. The Environmental Health Officers Registrations Council says non-pharmaceutical intervention such as sanitary hygiene is the way to avoid cholera. Briefing the press in Abuja, Registrar Environmental Health Officers Registration Council Yakubu Mohammed Baba said 80% of water and food samples collected for testing from affected areas returned positive. He, however, called for the establishment of disinfection centers in every community. He noted that the Ministry of Environment is working on strengthening environmental health surveillance and activating the environmental health emergency volunteer crew across the country.
All sources of water in all the contaminated and all reported communities across the country.
The council says it is working closely with relevant agencies to contain the cholera disease, especially with the establishment of the Rapid Response and Monitoring Centers by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control. We shall now be joining Kemi Akiwande in our Ibadan Network Center for more on Nationwide. Hi, Kemi.
Welcome to Ibadan. Wife of Ogun State Governor Bamidele Abiodun wants stakeholders in drug abuse prevention to identify actions against drug abuse in the society. Mrs. Abiodun during a sensitization walk organized by NDLEA in Ogun State in commemoration of the United Nations International Day Against Drug Abuse and Trafficking emphasized the importance of collective responsibility in tackling the menace of drug addiction in society. Oyinkosola Ojelade reports.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA Ogun State Command, organized the walk to mark the United Nations International Day Against Drug Abuse and Trafficking. Wife of Ogun State Governor Bamidele Abiodun, while addressing the team, says stakeholders must be resolute in combating drug addiction and trafficking and encouraged the public to play an active role in preventing drug abuse in their various communities.
Drug trafficking has become very, very prevalent amongst us, especially amongst our youth, and they are now beginning to have access to things that we ordinarily would not think will cause them to abuse drugs.
The team, led by the Ogun State Commandant of NDLEA, Tijani Rabe, thereafter engaged market men and women and some residents on the dangers of drug abuse and trafficking.
The boys or the children you find, the juveniles, involved in manufacture of some of these drugs. Majority of them are out of school. Have a record, not participation, organization of sensitization campaign to various schools and communities.
The United Nations General Assembly established International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking in 1987 to strengthen global action and cooperation towards a society free of drug abuse. Nabelkuta, Weave Consola Ojelade, NTA.
President Bola Tinubu has approved the upgrade of Ibadan Airport to an international airport. This was disclosed by Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde when he received the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Baba Abubakar, at the Government House, Ibadan. Ayomiku Ajibola has the details.
Stating that the airport upgrade will commence in the next 3 weeks, the project, Governor Seyi Makinde says, will include the construction of new terminal, runway and other structural features that will be handled by experts and delivered to standard. The governor said his administration had spent the last 5 years turning around the economy of the state, identifying the need for the upgrade of the Ibadan airport as central to its economic expansion agenda.
When I formed the committee to drive that project, I would like the Air Force also to join this and assist us to see this project through.
The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Abubakar, while acknowledging the governor's focus on economic development and enhancing security in the state, noted that the acquisition of 60 hectares of land for the Air Force base at Abuja and the provision of security operational vehicles were commendable efforts of the governor.
Nigerian Air Force deployed 1 ISR and 2 fighter jets to Oyo State in support of Operation Ojuasha to flush out criminal elements from Oyo State forests. All these efforts are aimed at making Oyo State safe for investments and development to thrive.
He however urged the governor to expedite action on the ongoing 10-kilometer Abuja Airport Road so as to ease movement of Air Force activities in the area. In Ibadan, Ayomiku Ajibola, NTA News.
And that's it from Ibadan. More reports on Nationwide with Mary and Jos after the break. Just stay with us.
Thanks for joining us in Jos. Wife of Plateau State Governor Helen Mutfwang is emphasizing the need for youth to engage in meaningful ventures that will enhance their living standard than indulging in social vices that are detrimental to their well-being and the society. This was while marking the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking in Jos. Ndayang and Debagang reports.
Drug abuse remains a serious societal menace as it impacts on every facet of life of the user. In a bid to strengthen the fight against drug abuse, wife of Plateau State Governor, in collaboration with the NDLEA and other stakeholders, are synergizing with the United Nations to combat this menace. She expresses concern over the rising cases among youths in Plateau State.
To combat the drug problem, government and relevant stakeholders must implement prevention policies, programs, especially for youths, and take a firm stance against drug addiction through administrative and legal measures.
A PowerPoint presentation by a consultant psychiatrist dwelt on the 2024 theme, "The Evidence is Clear, Invest in Prevention," stressed on how these drugs affect the human brain.
Since it's multifaceted, the approach to it must be multifaceted.
Contributions came from the Commissioner for Women Affairs, NDLEA, and other partners, calling on students to focus more on their academic activities rather than indulging in social vices.
We are gathered to lend our voice as stakeholders and to let them know that living a healthy lifestyle is the new high.
It's not just for the government to key in. The First Lady may do her part, the governor may do his part, but what are you doing as a parent? Invest in the prevention.
In Jos, Indenyan and the Abagang, NTA News.
Stringent penalties establishing compliant decks in tertiary institutions, speaking out, and positive attitudinal change are part of the practical measures to curb victimization of students in tertiary institutions in the country. This was the position of stakeholders at an engagement tagged Systemic and Proactive Investigation into victimization of students in tertiary institutions in Plateau State, organized by the Public Complaints Commission in Jos. Ijoma Ozemena has details.
The Public Complaints Commission, saddled with the mandate of controlling administrative excesses, has between 2021 to date received more than 1,500 cases of different types of victimization, including those within tertiary institutions, to redress complaints lodged by aggrieved citizens and provide impartial investigations, particularly in tertiary institutions. Stakeholders including heads of tertiary institutions in Plateau State, teachers, students, civil society groups, departments of justice and law enforcement agencies, as well as the media, are brainstorming on practical ways of addressing these issues. Issues such as sexual harassment, failing students unjustly, or wrong allocation of grades are some of the challenges rearing its head at tertiary institutions that should be addressed urgently.
One student reports, another one reports. All the students will know their rights and know the areas that are being victimized and report to appropriate authority, especially Public Complaints Commission.
End of the whole exercise, we want an attitudinal change.
Other participants are emphatic that collaborative and proactive measures are needed towards reducing victimization in institutions of higher learning.
We can bring the issues to limelight, but the actions must be done in the institutions to bring it out.
Participants are also optimistic that at the end of the engagement, confidence will be built towards picking up on human rights violations and stemming the tide of victimization in tertiary institutions. In Jos, Ijoma Ozemena, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Jos. Nationwide continues in our Abuja studio with Norlene.
Thank you very much, Mary. President Bola Tinubu extends his condolences to former President of the Senate, Senator Bukola Saraki, over the passing of his mother, Florence Morenike Saraki. President Tinubu mourns the deceased matriarch, stating that she lived a long and fruitful life as a servant of her community, a servant of God, and a beloved guardian and mother to many. The president also commiserates with the entire Saraki family and everyone mourning this loss. The president prays for the repose of the soul of the departed matriarch and the grace to her family to bear the immeasurable loss. We shall now be connecting with Rofia in our Ibadan Network Center. Of course, she's standing by to feed us with more information on the critical stakeholders meeting on prevention of cholera in Oyo State, which is currently underway. Hello, Rofia. Can you speak to us on this?
Thank you, Nolin, in Abuja. Medical practitioners are here converged on Ibadan, precisely for him pertaining to outbreak of cholera in Nigeria and suggest ways of tackling the menace. With me here is the state epidemiologist, Dr. Iyabo Karim, who will be telling us the situation of cholera outbreak in the state and the level of sensitization among the populace.
So thank you. Talking about the situation update of Oyo State, let me say to you that in Oyo State we don't have outbreak. Though we have suspected cases, but looking at the risk, doing the risk assessments, in which we know that we are between Lagos and Ogun States who have had confirmed cases of cholera. So we are not staying, we are really working, and part of the strategy we are using is sensitizing the people. And what are the methods we are using? We've been to marketplaces to sensitize our people, where we are distributing high EC materials for them in terms of posters and hand bins, which is showing the things they should know about cholera. This we are doing. Then we've been to other communities, to them, sensitizing them about.
We apologize for the glitch there in, of course, connecting and moving forward with Rofia talking to us on the stakeholders initiative on health. And now back here in Abuja, efforts of the federal government to equip 1 million Nigerians with technological skills for self-sufficiency are yielding positive results, with students equipped with requisite knowledge in cybersecurity administration under the Take 1 Million National Scholarship Project. Elizabeth Omori reports that at the graduation ceremony of students who have undergone training in cybersecurity administration, NTA was named as Outstanding Tech Innovative TV Station.
The world and technology are evolving with a symbiotic relationship, promoting communication with prospects in the contemporary world. The federal government, through the Global Tech World Computer Institute, is strengthening capacity of Nigerians to leverage opportunities in information technology and prefer solutions in the cyberspace.
I will make sure I will use it judiciously to impact our economy.
People are complaining of being hacked in their accounts and all those things. So the reason why I got this is to be able to protect, to help them.
Techies and key actors in the sector say investing in information technology will enhance national security, protect businesses, and foster trust in digital technologies.
Remember that the knowledge you have gained is not just for personal advancement, but for the betterment of our communities.
The future is all of you. How you take it, build it, depends on you, and that is going to define what the future is going to look like. I hope you're not going to disappoint us.
You have a skill set. I don't see why labor should be exported from this country. We really need to do better with the skills that we have.
The Nigerian Television Authority and individuals advancing ICT in the country were recognized. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Say congratulations to our NTA. And that concludes Nationwide today. Thank you for being part of it. I am Nolin Ebel Ame. Do enjoy the rest of your evening.